it's the Nunu here, and I'm here to talk about my new project. So basically, I was working on 2 writing projects before. One with my writing partner Yennefer, and then I was writing one by myself, which was Ugly Days, the novel about the girl in eating disorder treatment. And I was like, I kind of want another project, like one that's not, one that's also by myself, but is not semi-autobiographical, because that's just taking a lot out of me, and I felt like I needed something a little bit lighter. Although I'm not really sure if I would consider this project to be lighter, because it's pretty dark, but, you get the idea. So the book is called Sonder. If you don't know, Sonder is kind of a unique word, and it basically means the idea that everyone around you is living their own individual lives that are equally as interesting as your life. I thought that was a really interesting concept, and that's kind of the concept that this project explores. It was previously called Backyard Bread because there is a dog kind of at the center of the whole storyline. And if you don't know, the term backyard bred is a term used to describe a dog that is bred unprofessionally, if you want to say that. So like backyard breeding would be the breeding of dogs that is done unethically, basically. And so the dog in the story was bred unethically, and I'm going to get into that whole thing in this video talking about the dog. But first I wanted to introduce the other characters in the story, because I feel like it is a very character-driven story, and if you know the characters, you get a pretty good idea of what the book's about. So first off, we have the main character. The main character's name is Stacy. She is in her 20s, and she is living with the guy she's married to, and I will get into him more here in a minute. But Stacy is, she went to school for cosmetology. She is a hairdresser. And she's very interesting. She's kind of ruthless. She doesn't have a whole lot of empathy. And it's because she doesn't have a whole lot of empathy that she gets into the gore side of the internet. I first learned that this was even a part of the internet that existed a while back when I was watching videos on YouTube, because there are these like iceberg videos on YouTube talking about most disturbing like websites and stuff like that. And shock sites were a big part of it. If you don't know what a shock site is, it's really dark, so trigger warning for that. For talks of violence and just violence. There's gonna be a lot of talks about that in this video because it's a big part of the story. But shock sites are websites where there is real life gore shown. You can watch these videos online. I would not recommend it. I'm assuming it's probably pretty traumatizing. But they have actual videos of real life people dying, basically, on the internet that anyone can watch. And I know there are some other books out there that touch on this topic, but I haven't actually read any of them yet. I'm planning on it. I know there's one called Wrecked. I can't remember what the author's name is, but I know that has to do with shock sites, specifically on the dark web. And there's this whole, like, I guess culture surrounding this type of thing, and I have heard that you can actually get addicted to stuff like this, to watching stuff like this. So that is where Stacy comes into play, because she has somewhat of an addiction to watching this kind of thing. It's like an adrenaline rush type situation, but she very much likes to act perfect, but she is not perfect. She is far from perfect. But she has this whole thing going on, like she's very pretty, she's very successful, she has a lot of money, but deep down there's a lot of stuff going on under the surface that is disturbing and even immoral. And she lacks a lot of empathy. She even lacks cognitive empathy. Sometimes she has some cognitive empathy, I will say, but sometimes she just, like, it's like there's nothing there. She just doesn't feel empathy toward other people. So that is Stacy. And then there's Dan. Dan is Stacy's husband. He is a firefighter. That is his job. He loves dogs, which is where the dog storyline comes in. He also, though, was a stalker. How he first met Stacy is he was stalking her. And, he gives her this gift when he's stalking her, and this gift is a dog. He gives her a dog, and it's this brown, standard poodle named Moose. Moose is an important part of the story. He just plays a very important role in the story, and I'm not going to get into that too much because it gets really spoilery, but, Moose is amazing. We love Moose. That's a little bit about Dan. I don't really want to go too much into his story either because, also spoilers, but I think you can kind of see a theme here with the characters being very imperfect, and, there are a lot of kind of messed up characters, morally, I don't even want to say morally gray, because I don't even know if you would call it gray. They're just not great morally. Which kind of goes into the horror aspect of it, because this book is a Southern Gothic psychological thriller book. So yeah, that is Dan. And then you have Brandy. Brandy is Stacy's best friend. She works at a dog boarding kennel, which, if you know me, you know I work at a dog boarding kennel, so some of my experiences at the kennel I put into Brandy, because I've seen some things working at a kennel. I've seen dogs passing away, I've seen blood, I've seen really sick dogs. So it can take a toll on you emotionally if you really love animals, and that is a part of Brandy's character. Another part of her character is she is diagnosed with multiple mental illnesses. She has PTSD, she has social anxiety, she has bipolar disorder. And so she's on a lot of medications for these things, and the medications cause her to feel kind of numb. She can't feel much of anything anymore. And so one night she's hanging out with Stacy, and they're like on a rooftop and they're like drinking. And she's talking to Stacy about how she can't feel anything, and Stacy pulls up one of the gore videos that she has seen and she shows it to Brandy, which leads to Brandy kind of having a breakdown and being really upset. But she hasn't felt that much emotion in a very long time, so she ends up getting addicted to it as well. And I don't know how much you know about, like, serial killers. Not that Brandy is a serial killer or anything, but there's this whole thing with certain killers of, like, they can't feel anything, but when they kill somebody, they can feel again. So it's kind of a similar concept, I guess, where Brandy previously couldn't feel much of anything, and then she is exposed to something very traumatic and disturbing, and she can suddenly feel again. And that causes her to fall into the addiction with Stacy. And the whole story is like these three people and kind of their descents, their individual descents into madness, with the dogs at the center of the story, because there is another dog. This dog is named Bear, and she is a German Shepherd, and she is the backyard bred dog. Dan was struggling with his mental health a lot because of his job as a firefighter. He saw some really disturbing things, and so he wanted another dog to help him deal with it. So that is where Bear comes into play, because Stacy originally didn't want another dog, and then she sees him having kind of this meltdown over the things that he's seen at work. She's like, okay, we can get another dog. And he finds a breeder who is an unethical breeder, it turns out, because she doesn't do like health testing, and none of the dogs are certified or anything. She's just breeding dogs to make money, basically. And this dog, Bear, has genetic issues because of the irresponsible breeding that led to Bear coming into this world, basically. And so, because of these genetic issues, Bear ends up being aggressive. And that's where a lot of the horror in the book comes from. It's like animal attack type horror. So there are so many interconnecting storylines and different plot lines, and I'm really excited for this book to get out there. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. I considered posting it on Wattpad. I don't know for sure if I'm going to publish it or not. It would be cool to publish it, but it's just so... I don't know. I just don't know what I want to do with it yet. So if you have an opinion on where I should post it or how I should publish it, I would be excited to hear your thoughts about it. But yeah, that is basically all I have for now. That is the plot of Sonder, previously titled Backyard Bread. And I'm so excited to see where this book is going. This is my first book, not my first book that I've written without an outline, but one of the first books I've written recently without an outline. I'm trying to challenge myself. Outlines are great. They're amazing. It's a great way to write a story, but I am writing Sonder completely without an outline. I'm writing it as the ideas come to me and as I experience life, specifically working at this dog kennel that I work at. So yeah, I remember literally just yesterday I was working and something happened with one of the dogs, and I was like, I could totally put this into the story and it would make sense, and it would make sense for the character development. And I was like, well, I guess I just got a new idea from experiencing life, basically. Which I get a lot of good ideas from just life, and yeah, that is the idea behind Sonder. I hope it sounds interesting to you. I know I have a friend who's really interested in the book and was like, you should totally make a video about it. So I'm like, okay. Well, I asked her, I was like, should I make a video about this or this? And she was like, you should make a video about Sonder. I'm like, okay, I will. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you follow me here on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, all the things. I have accounts on all kinds of social medias. So I will see you in the next video.